Come sit down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Castlebar Marquis TV. I'm your host, Castlebar Marquis, the one and only, and I am here with a very close friend of mine, someone that I've known for almost 5, 6 years now, a Chicago native of the greater state of Illinois, um, who's grown up there in the '80s. Lived other places in the '90s. Now she has her own dog breeding business, her own kennel, and also the new co-host to the new and up and coming TV show and podcast, Too Grown for This, brought to you by Universal Underground Radio Network. Miss Dawn, how are you doing tonight?
I'm well. Hopefully everybody's blessed and had a great week, and at home now chilling with their family.
All right. Hey, blessed. And you know what? It's interesting because for those who don't know, this is like our third take of doing this. And I just remember this was the 13th. You know what I mean? So we started on Friday, it's now Saturday. It's just crazy. So you got to shake that jinx off us. You know what I'm saying? How they say, unpop the shirt. You know what I mean? And get it in. But Miss Dawn, so we're gonna jump right on into this. Growing up, Chicago, Illinois, 1980s. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me a little bit about that? Like a little bit about your origins and where you grew up. Whether the South Side or the West Side of Chicago. Well, where does the Dawn story all begin?
Um, well, the Dawn story really begins in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where originally I was born. How I
Okay.
became a native of Chicago was due to me being adopted by a Puerto Rican family, and they moved from Puerto Rico to Aurora, Illinois, and then when my parents got married, they moved to Chicago, and they made themselves a home in Humble Park, which is Southwest. But I was raised on Edgewater. That's
Mm.
the north side, and it's like a block from Lakeshore Drive, and we lived on the Foster exit, Foster and Berwyn.
Great. So, what was the community like in the '80s? Foster and Berwyn, like.
Um, it could be hectic sometimes. I mean, we did have the good and bad. I mean, it was a really strong community as far as family goes and stuff. But I also had its bad, like I wasn't able to play outside the courtyard where I stayed at in the apartment building I was from, because it did get pretty bad. So my mother would make me stay in the courtyard and stuff. We did adventure out from time to time, but not too much. If we did, we would go to our friend's house and then go inside. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like you were just roaming the streets. I mean, when I got a teenager, I did, but like when I was younger, you try to listen to your mom, you don't get in trouble. You know how them Puerto Ricans moms are. They be calling your whole government name, finding you.
Yes, I am very familiar with the Puerto Rican household. Some of my best friends,
Hmm.
um, they come from Puerto Rican households, and with me and us being so close, it's an interesting thing I learned about Puerto Ricans. It's either we really rock with you or we don't.
Right.
Like there is no in between. You know what I mean? So, um, I'm very familiar. Great household. And one thing I did learn about Puerto Ricans, and then for those of you who don't know, who are unfamiliar, they are very different from other Latin and Hispanic cultures. Like most people get the misconception that Puerto Ricans like their food spicy. They don't like spicy
That's true.
flavor. You
Yeah,
know, and it has to have flavor, not spice. So a particular flavor, that's the essence of Puerto Rican.
that's very
Uh, Definitely. So yeah, I'm very familiar. You know what I'm saying? You know, I want to roast the pollo right now. To be honest with you,
yeah. Arroz con gandules with bacalao.
indeed. So, uh, any kids?
Yes. God did bless me with four children. Two
Okay,
girls, Adriana and Stacia, and two boys, Juan and Brendan.
all right. Okay. So, at what age did were you blessed to experience motherhood for the first time?
I was 19. I was a teen. Yes. Um, but thank God, I was blessed with a good man, as that he took care of his responsibilities, and he had that mentality to know how to take care of his children, because he's a year older than me, so he was only 20, and he graduated high school, and then he went into college. So yeah, you know
All right. So, experiencing motherhood for the first time, was it more scary to you, or were you like, because of your upbringing, you're like, okay, I've been coached for this, I got this? What was it like for you?
it was scary. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. We don't have the advantages that everybody has now, what I'm saying, where you could just click a button, and it'll tell you, what to do, what I'm saying. And it's like you're always calling your mother, or whoever, to get advice from and stuff like that. So I mean, it was a kind of touch and feel kind of thing. You make a lot of mistakes and everything, but that's the best way to learn, is to have mistakes. It's a trial and error kind of thing, what I'm saying? So I mean, it's very challenging, to be a mother that young, and yeah, it's really scary. It is. It's very scary. You doubt yourself a lot. I know a lot of women don't talk about those kind of things, but you do. You doubt yourself a lot. You're just very emotional because you don't know if you're doing the right thing or not. So you just kind of wing it.
I see. So, uh, and out of your four kids, did you have all of them in Chicago, or were they like some born in Chicago and some born in other places?
Um, None of my kids were born in Chicago.
Okay.
I just didn't want that. I mean, nothing wrong with the city of Chicago. Trust me. I love Chicago, but it's just I didn't want my children to see or experience that at that time in my life. Now, if when they're older now, they do go back home and stuff, and they did spend time with my mother when they were children. But I just felt like that wasn't the place for me to be and have children with and raise a family. So I had moved 2 hours from the city, and it's called Champaign, Illinois, and
Ah,
that's the University of Illinois. It probably has 50,000 people on a normal base, not including the students. They call it the Bubble City because it's has Champaign, Illinois, and it has Urbana, Illinois. But my children were born in Urbana, Illinois, and it's a really like chill back community. Everybody knows each other. A lot of professors, a lot of students are there. So that's where my children were born, and that's where they've been to high school. They went to the same high school me and their dad went to. Their grandmas, their uncles. So yeah.
sounds great. So, Champaign, Illinois. I'm vaguely familiar with the area, but isn't Ludacris the rapper Ludacris?
Yeah.
Isn't Ludacris from Champaign?
Yeah, he's from Champaign, Illinois, even though he doesn't claim it. He says he's from Atlanta, but he's not. He actually went to Centennial. Centennial High School. So
Shout out to Ludacris if he ever watches it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And shout out to Shauna because y'all also came. You know, you have Shauna that's from Chicago as
Hmm.
well. The Brat and her
Hmm.
half sister, the rapper Common,
Hmm.
Twister, of course. And I know for a fact your personal favorite, Crucial Conflict, and all those guys from Do or
Oh
Die.
yeah, yeah. Do or die, definitely.
Do or Die, Do or Die. That's what's
Yep.
up. Shout out to all of those brothers out there. You know what I'm saying? And some of the G's. I know y'all watching. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, that's retired. Hey man, I appreciate y'all,
Yeah.
man. So Champaign, Illinois, everything. Married life.
Hmm.
How many times were you married? How do you
I
feel
was
about marriage?
I was married twice.
Mm-hmm.
My first marriage was to my kid's father. We were married for 11 years. Um, we decided to go on,
Mm-hmm.
and we got divorced in 2009. And I waited 5 years, and I got remarried again. I gave it another chance. I got married to my second husband, and he's a native of South Bend, Indiana. So I had moved from Champaign to South Bend, Indiana. We got married, and we were married for 5 years, and then we went our own ways in 2017. And then I had moved back to Illinois.
Okay. Okay. Um, as far as being married, you knowing what you know now, what is one thing that older Dawn, you now, if you could tell younger Dawn, married Dawn, what is one of the like things you would give her any advice or heads up for? Is there anything that you would want to tell yourself that you know now?
Yeah, I would. I definitely wouldn't got married as young as I did the first time. I was only 23 years old. Um, I guess because it was embedded in me so much from my mom, and because my parents were married for 66 years, that you need to get married, you need to get married because you have kids and stuff. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of women feel like they have to do that, but times is different. So don't get married because you feel like because you have a kid with somebody, you have to marry them. Marry them because you love each other and you see that you're going to be able to progress together and y'all are compatible with each other. Not just sexually, but mentally and spiritually. That person has to be your best friend, you know what I'm saying? And I made that mistake that don't get me wrong, like I love my kid's father, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in love with him, of course. I have love for him, but that wasn't the person for me, you know. So I would just tell myself, if I knew the stuff that I knew now, to wait and date him a longer time, fill him out and all this other stuff, because it's like once I had my daughter, everything just went quick, and it's like I got pregnant with her, and then my daughter was 1, and I was already pregnant 4 months. My second son was 4 months in my stomach, so it's like we moved really, really fast. So take your time, live your life, have fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, be responsible with your fun, but like have fun, enjoy your life, go to school, like find that career that you want to stable yourself into before you start planning your roots with somebody forever, because that's forever.
Hmm, I see. Sounds like some great advice. Life changing. Um, so traditionally, you
Mhm.
know, mostly because of the Spanish Inquisition, of course, uh, Puerto Ricans are most renownedly known for being like Catholic.
True.
So, did you experience that Catholic upbringing, or what's your thoughts about that? How do you
Uh,
feel about that?
No disrespect, you know what I'm saying? But I was raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. I did go to Catholic school, St. Mary's. It's on Foster and in Chicago. So I went to Catholic school. I did my communion. I got baptized when I was born, you know what I'm saying? So like I experienced the whole thing. But when I got older and stuff, I just removed myself from that because there was things about Catholic religion that I did not agree with. So, I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in a God. I am just more spiritual. My mother taught me to be open about people and their religion. You know what I'm saying? Never like downsize somebody because they're another religion. If they come talk to you and be like, "Oh, this is my religion. You want to come to my church," or they invite you or something, she would go, like, but I personally don't claim myself as being Catholic anymore.
Hmm. Was there any like one particular thing that just was like the straw that broke the camel's back? You was just like, all right, this just ain't for me. Like,
Yes. And like I said, once again, no disrespect to Catholics, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get have good family morals and stuff, but it's just the way that they feel like they have to control women. Like, you can't get on birth control, you can't have an abortion. It's like you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't get a divorce. Like, my mother didn't talk to me for 3 months when I got divorced to my kid's father because that was frowned upon in the Catholic community. You know what I'm saying? And technically, if we're gonna get biblical about it, you're not supposed to get remarried again. You're Even though you're divorced, but your husband is still living, you're still basically still married.
hmm, I definitely can attest for that because um even in Islamic law, like technically you can get divorced, but it's what they call only under certain specifications and certain what they call special dispensation is made. But technically, I mean, it's more um it's more inducive for a person to get divorced and then get remarried again back to the same person than it is like to just flat out get divorced unless it was like something extreme circumstances. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely can understand that. But thankfully, I mean, times have changed a lot with the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Um, look, we ain't gonna go into that
We're
because
not.
you know that's
That's a whole
that's
story of
that's
its own.
stuff that this channel is young and we ain't trying to get banned. So
Yeah.
YouTube, we gonna play in the guidelines, okay? We gonna play in the I don't want no smoke from nobody, okay? All right. So, all right, moving on. So dog breeding.
Mhm.
What possessed you to be a female, as in gender, dog
Mm.
breeder? Like, what? Where did it all start? Like, there has to be, usually for businesses, they say you have to love what you do. So, where did your love for dogs even start? Let's start there.
As a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian or a marine biologist. I love all animals, but I do like dogs more. I love cats, but I'm allergic to them. If I did have a cat, my idea cat would be a Persian or a Siamese cat if I could have them, but unfortunately I can't. But yes, when you're a dog breeder, you have to love animals. You have to love dogs and everything because it's not just breeding them and stuff. It's They're like your children and stuff. You have to look after them, feed them, take them to the vet, and you have to get dirty too. You got to clean their poop up, their pee, their vomit, whatever else. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just black and white. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of gray shades into it.
I see. I
But it's
see.
very rewarding and stuff, and they do protect you and they do love you and stuff. They're like children. It's just they just have their own minds. It's kind of it's nice to see them when they're born and then watch them grow up and stuff. I've had that privilege to see that a couple times, and it puts a joy in your life because you've raised this dog from the time it was born all the way up to wherever stage it's at right now and you've seen them mature and you've seen them develop. Their personality comes out and stuff like that. So yeah, you gotta like dogs, like be around them and stuff.
Hmm. So, is it uh hard for you to let them go? Like, the of course, being a breeder, of course, you have to, you're in the business of selling dogs.
Yes.
Um, is it hard for you to let them go once sold, or how does that work for you emotionally?
No, because not their puppies, because I don't get attached to them. I do, but then I don't. You just have to know how to have that line with them. Like the mother, yeah, I'm gonna be attached to them because I've had her, what I'm saying, for however long. But like their puppies, I know that they're not staying with me. There has been times I have kept one of their puppies. That's because I have got attached to them, or I feel like they need more nurturing, or they're the runt of the litter. So I'll keep that one and be like, well, I'm gonna keep this one and get it together and all that other stuff. So, but typically, no, it's not hard for me to let them go. I mean, only thing I get worried about is, and I tell this to the people who I let them buy my dogs from, and I let them know this, and it's even in my contracts. I let them know that they need to keep me updated with them, make sure that they love them, and they're not just, especially the females, because people don't talk about this, but a lot of times people do get female dogs and they just use them as breeders, and they don't love them and they don't respect them. Only time they respect them is they're bringing them their puppies because they know they're going to give them financial gain. You know, um, yeah. So I'm really big on that. When I first sold one of my puppies, I was I wasn't emotional about it because I was scared. I'm like, what happens if they don't take care of them? What happens if they don't love them? Like all my dogs, they're inside my house. The only time my dogs go outside is when they have to use the bathroom or they have misbehaved. But besides that, they live inside my house. They are crate trained. You know what I'm saying? They do. I just don't believe in having my dogs outside in the environment. And that's my personal choice. There are people that do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how I see it. Especially living now in South Carolina, this is a whole different environment. It gets really hot and they can't handle that heat. If anybody knows about American bullies, that's what I have. Um, they're real sensitive to heat. They could overheat and stuff and die, and just causes too much problems.
Hmm. Okay, now you just dropped the whole bomb on us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the whole screen is shaking right now. South Carolina
Hmm.
from I'm taking it from Illinois.
Hmm.
That that's a big move right there. That's
Yeah.
totally two different poles of energy right here. That's like the difference between Germany and China. I mean, that's totally different. So pros and cons of both. Because the first start off with how long have you been in South Carolina now?
For 3 years.
3 years. God damn you. That's almost enough to get a voter's registration card. But like in all seriousness, like what do you find to be the pros of South Carolina?
The weather.
The weather. Okay.
Yeah. The,
Um. So, what is the con as far as it's being a negative versus how Illinois is like?
don't get me wrong. Don't take this personal, South Carolina people. You know what I'm saying? But it's a whole entire culture shock coming from coming from me being raised in Chicago and then moving outside of Chicago and going to Champaign, it's not a suburb, but it's a whole different environment. And then moving to South Carolina, it's a whole culture change. Like it's like, especially where I live at right now. I live in Ridgeland, South Carolina, and it's like they're stuck in like the late 90s to me. It's just, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the people are nice. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's just when I first moved down here, it was really weird because everybody's like, good morning," and we don't do that in Chicago. We don't barely even speak, even in Champaign. We just don't. We just go on about our day and mind our business. You know what I'm saying? And just watch your surroundings and stuff. You know, even in Champaign. You know, but it was just different. Like your people are here more relaxed and all that other stuff. You know, so it was a big change.
I can definitely attest for that. That's some of that, I guess, Southern hospitality you
That's
were
true.
ingratiated with.
Yeah.
Um, so does like for you personally, um, was that a easy adaptation, to that Southern hospitality? Like, you being a person, like how you said, most Chicago people don't say good morning. Uh, in the 3 years, when did that, like, when was you like kind of used to that now? Like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna start saying good morning and everything else. How do you feel about that? Just the good morning.
I mean, like honestly, I'm not a morning person. So it took me about a good almost 2 years to get used to that because I'm not a morning person. I have to have my coffee or my Red Bull just for me to get into that all perky mood and stuff. And then I have to like mentally prepare myself for that and tell myself that people are gonna say automatically good morning to me, even if I don't speak to them or not. They're just gonna naturally, the minute they see my face, good morning, how are you, hello, they're gonna speak to you. So it's just something I've had to get used to. But I mean, I've adjusted pretty quickly because I do work in retail, so I do have to be around customers all the time. I do have to be around people all the time. So it's something that I had to be adjusted to.
Okay, I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see that. I
but it
can see.
does help you get out your shell and not be so like, because I naturally have like a very serious face. But it's not that like I'm mean or anything. It's just because I'm just not feeling or thinking anything, and that's just how we are, in the Midwest. Well, Chicago people, you know, we're just very just relaxed, whatever. Everything's not all uptight and everything. So, especially females, especially Hispanic females, that's just how we are. Um, yeah.
Words to live by. Words to live by. I can definitely see your point. All right, everybody. Look, we are at the 30-minute part. So right now, this is where, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We coming out the shirts, okay? This is where if you've been along for 30 minutes now, look here. This is now, this goes from traditional interview to, what I'm saying, we're gonna be raw and uncensored, you know what I'm saying? So we coming out the shirt a little bit on this. All right. Now, and thank you for everybody who has been, tuned in this long. People who haven't, you know what I'm saying, who, you want to keep it conservative, you like the vernacular and the type of, energy, the whole CNN kind of setup right here. Yeah, this is the time where, I'm not going to tell you to click off. Don't click off. Just put the phone down. Go make yourself a sandwich. It's about to get a little wild. Okay. All right. So, all right. You just mentioned a very good point right now. Okay. You said Puerto Rican females, correct? All right. Puerto Rican females, the day versus Puerto Rican females in the 80s. Like, how you feel about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel about, the new chick repping, repping the culture? Like, how you feel about that?
I feel like, well, for one, we could clarify this real quick. My parents are Puerto Rican, but they're not my real parents. I was adopted into a Puerto Rican family. My real mother is Caucasian, and my real father is Mexican. And normally, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans do not mix with each other.
I was about to say
That's
you are like an anomaly right now. Like how in the world, like you know, it's wow. But
but
continue.
from what I experienced, being brought up in a Puerto Rican household from the time I was 5 until I left home and stuff. Puerto Rican women are very passionate about their culture. They're crazy about the Puerto Rican parade. They're crazy about the Puerto Rican flag. They will put it every freaking where. They are not ashamed of their culture. They will be out here like blasting the music and stuff, and they're just free spirited women, and they're just beautiful, and I was blessed to see that, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, yeah.
So okay, is that more like traditional Puerto Rican, or do you like see like a new wave of Puerto Rican, or is it the same? Like, I
It's
mean,
I feel like it's the same to me, That's how I feel. I mean, if it's something different, but that's just how I seen it, all my life. Even now,
okay, that's what's up. So let me ask you, you know, uh, you know, a black man question, because the brothers really want to know, what I'm saying, like, because we are always trying to improve on this channel, black and brown relations, you know what I'm saying? So, like, as the Puerto Rican females, are they really digging the brothers? Or are they kind of like, is it kind of like taboo? You got that one cousin over there that might got a black boyfriend or something like that, or
back in the day, it used to be taboo. Yes. My father is black. Um, I didn't bring my kid's father to my mother's house until we were married because
mm,
my mom did not believe in you bringing your boyfriend to her house or you sleeping in the same bed in her house until you were married. So until we got married, that's when I brought my husband to my mother.
so you was just
So
like, I ain't about to listen.
yeah,
I'm
like I literally that was the only man I have brought to my mom. Literally.
Uh,
Out
I
of
mean,
all my boyfriends and stuff, that was the only man I brought into my mother's house. That was the only man that's slept in the house in my mother's bed. Well, not in her bed, but in her house. You know what
her
I'm saying?
presence.
One of her
Okay.
rooms. So yeah, like they're really strict about that. Oh yeah, you don't disrespect your mama house and bring your boyfriend. It's not happening. And I was like 23, 24, and I'm scared to bring my husband to my mother's house, before we even got married because, it just wasn't allowed. Like it wasn't happening. You ain't smooching, you ain't making out, you not doing nothing.
Man, that's like, for a lack of a better term, that's like sneaking freak. Like, all right, hold the window open. Hey, when I knock 3 times.
And now, unfortunately, where we lived at and stuff, we have bars in our windows, so you can sneak nobody in. Even in the bathrooms, they had bars, so yeah, it ain't happening.
On the John. Oh my goodness. Whew.
That's how Chicago was back then. You can't just even now, like people still have bars on their windows or they have gates and all kind of stuff. That's just how that life is.
I
Once it
mean,
gets up, that's just how Chicago is. You want nobody burglarizing your house.
look, it ain't no secret. So this ain't snitching. But Chicago, I mean, y'all are known for gang, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got a lot of, and it has been like that. I mean, shit, damn near since the 50s, you know what I'm saying? Actually, the 1920s, you got the Al Capone, the
Uh,
outfit, you know what I'm saying? You got, you know, the Irish gang down there, and in Cicero, and they beef thing going on. I mean, then you got your vice lords, you got your G's, the moles, your black souls. You know what I'm saying? Like I personally have done like a brief gang analysis of Chicago, before this interview, and like y'all, it just gets weird. like,
It does.
like at least in like LA, which is was typically known for gangs. It's like, okay, Crips are here, and then there's this section, and then you might have a line or a road, and then after that line, it's neighborhoods, and then over there, it's what I'm saying, it's this, it's families. So, but in Chicago, it just be like they could have like one square block, and then or like a couple of square blocks, and they whole entire gang, they the whole another thing. Like, I mean, they ain't G's, they ain't, what I'm saying, vice lords. They like, look, we four corner hustlers around here. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the no disrespect to the four CHs, man. Like, I got mad love for y'all, but like y'all just, they just like really lock down their hood. Hey, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And you really grew up in that era, like where you saw the decline of like bigger gangs, and then they became like little gangs with that. Like, did that make any of your friendships like kind of hard or something like that? Like, you can't go over there or anything no more. Like, you was cool with her, or she was a home girl, or like what was that like?
No, because I just stayed in my neighborhood. Really, only time I would venture out of my neighborhood off of Edgewater is when I would go see my family. But
Okay.
I wouldn't, go hang with other people from other neighborhoods. Because for one, that's a no no. You're looking for trouble. You don't know what's gonna happen to you. So you better just staying in your neighborhood with your own people. You know, because
Mm,
you never know what's gonna pop off and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if you need some backup, your neighborhood friends or whatever you want to call them, they gonna be there for you.
mm. I mean, I feel it, and on this channel, y'all, if y'all haven't seen the video, the tragedy of Danielle and the formation of, well, y'all know. Just hit the link. I'm gonna put the link in the bio. You know what I'm saying, and you'll see how it was like in South Carolina for at least a brief period of time. So, yeah, I can relate to that. Definitely. Um, do you feel like, as far as the guys, you know, like, you got the guys that were in the gangs in the 80s versus the guys that are in the gangs, or, you know, like, to you, what is the biggest difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, between like the Chiefs and the foot soldiers, like, I remember, before you answer this, I remember a time where um on the south side,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, they really like had like structure and order, and even on the west side, like they had, lieutenants, governors. There was violations. It was paperwork. It was just, like it was like it was a whole thing. Like, and it even made it more. When I visited, it made it more understandable, I guess, more adaptable or acceptable, when they said that this particular group, they're not a gang, they're an organization, because there was, a structure. So, as far as the temperament and the behavior of that, like, how do you feel like, the gangs have become more diluted? Do you feel like the gangs have, or maybe it's better, in some ways, as far as the guys, as far as their mentality specifically? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh God, it's so terrible. It's gotten so diluted. Trust me, I don't condone gangs. I don't, even though I was one myself, but I don't condone it because it's a life you just don't want to step into. But compared to what it was then than what it is now, it's crazy now. Like, This is why I didn't want children, because I didn't want them to experience this kind of life, which is sad because I love my children. Don't get me wrong. It's just life is different now. Like I would rather be stuck in that era than this where we're at presently right now. Any day, hands down. Back then, people knew their literature. They had to write their stuff. They had to memorize their stuff. They had to earn their position. It wasn't just given to you.
Right.
Now it's a joke. It's just for clout. It's just for protection or whatever. So it has changed a lot. Or they just kill each other for them to go up into the ranks, which is mad disrespectful and so unloyal.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, but I wouldn't advise nobody to get in no gang right now. Period. Um, it's not gonna get you nowhere. You might as well just join a sorority or fraternity before you even join a gang. Even though I know they do hazing and stuff. Um, you know, technically speaking, that's what they say.
I,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I think you're better off, joining something else but a gang now.
I mean, I've seen some sororities and fraternities get down almost as bad as gangs. Granted,
That's true.
the death rate was a whole lot more taboo. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't hear about, uh, for like, just the namesake purposes. You don't hear about like, 50 Omegas just got killed by a whole bunch of alphas. More news at 11. Like you don't hear about that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? But I mean, it does. It can get, listen. Some of them can get busy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can say that. But
But
for mhm.
um, I don't mean to cut your little session short, but I gotta go take care of some business in my house with my cat.
Hey, not a problem. Not a don't.
But to always be more than welcome to always continue on where we were going. I have a female that's in heat, so and then my
Oh
one of my
yeah.
males, he's just going crazy because he smells her. No matter where I put her at, he just wants to follow her, and it's just been. That's when it gets stressful because they like to do really crazy stuff. The males do, like they'll howl, they'll mark their territory by her, and all kind of stuff, and it gets really stressful. So I can't wait till she gets out of heat so I could just not deal with that anymore. You know,
Hey, I
that's
listen.
when the disciplinary part comes in. You can't be best friends with them. So I had to put him outside because I just cannot allow him to keep feel like he's gonna use the bathroom in the house when he knows better. So he is a bigger dog. He's 85 pounds. So I'm a female. He's used to alpha male in the house, and currently he's not here. He's in prison. And that's my business partner. So I have to assert my dominance, even though I'm a female. So
Hmm.
that's what I have to do. But
Okay.
I really enjoy my time with you guys. Everybody stay blessed. Be safe. Love your family. Love your kids. Make sure you tell everybody you love them every single day. You know what I'm saying? I know we get busy. Get off your phone. Go spend time with your family. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the fresh air. Life is too short. Don't be stuck in a relationship or an abusive one if you don't feel like that's best for you. And trust me, we can get on that subject another time because, you know, if I knew half of the stuff that I knew now, I wouldn't be in half of the predicaments that I am right now or put myself in that predicament. But thank you very much for having me. I do appreciate it.
Not a problem. Always a blessing and to be, what I'm saying, ingratiated with your presence.
Likewise.
Congratulations on your new show.
Thank
We will be running this right next to the episode that we just did interview with your
you.
co-host. And hey, more power to you, girl. Do your thing.
All
Do your
right.
thing.
We have a great night. Get some rest. Y'all got to
Do
get
the
our
same.
beauty sleep
Later.
later.
All right, everybody, and that was Dawn. And quick thing before we go, I forgot that there was a lot of people that was asking, like, what am I reading right now? And right now, I am on this book right here, The Complete Dead Sea Strolls in English, um, in which I've, bookmarked certain things and everything. Now, this basically picks up like about it's kind of like where other books set in when it comes down to the, this book, Let's Rock. Okay, because what people get the common misconception is that everything happened in like chronological orders, kind of like how the Bible is. But what they don't understand is that there's several different books in between. Like you have, you know, the Book of Jubilees, which is like Little Genesis, and then right after that you have, part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is other miniature books that weren't full volumes or chapters and everything else. Some of them were lost. Like then you have great books in there that really just explain everything. Like another book of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is the Book of Enoch, which is a very good read. I mean, some of it will even blow your mind. I've read the Book of Enoch 2 times, almost to know it almost to verbatim and by heart. It explains, if when you read these things, list like read them with an open mind. You know, even if you're not like a religious person, look at it from a scientific perspective. Like, one of the things that I can definitely identify in, and this is my, logic versus emotion, religion versus, uh, physicality of today, is I can like relate to a lot of those things. Scientifically, if you think about what they were seeing in deep space exploration, what we're discovering now, it's actually interesting that there's a correlation to how some of these prophets and apostles or holy men, vision seekers, they actually saw these things even back then, whether it be a dream or for some people, they actually went there. And, you know, moral of the story today, and I just want to let people uh kind of bring some people together because see, I'm always about bringing people together. Um, you'd be surprised how everybody is right, but in order for everybody to understand everybody, you kind of need to like think outside the box and how we could all be talking about the same thing, just looking at it from a different perspective. Okay. You might see this for the first time ever and say that's an alien. Somebody else might see it and say that's an angel. Somebody else might see it and say that's God, him, or herself. Somebody else might see it, that's something unnatural. And then, hey, you know, what you learn is that some of these extraterrestrial beings or beings that could not be explained in my terms, some of them did experiments. It's proven that they were scientists, So for me, it answered questions logically like, okay, what happened to the dinosaurs? Who created the dinosaurs? Perhaps, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here, maybe God didn't create the dinosaurs. Maybe they were created by other beings that came down for Earth. And some people might see those beings as aliens. Others might have seen or labeled those beings as the fallen angels. 200 of them to be exact. But I ain't gonna blaze y'all with that right quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, you know what I'm saying, in my smooth mode, I'm gonna just put that, you know what I'm saying, put that in your cap and see how you deal with it. Anyway, this has been Castball Marquis TV, another show brought to you by Universal Underground Radio Network. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Treat people as you want to be treated, people. If you don't remember anything else, that's what you need to do.